So already, I've asked Congress to pass a really good, bipartisan idea, one that was championed by the way, by Mitt Romney's economic advisor, and this is the idea to give every homeowner the chance to refinance their mortgage while rates are still low so they can save thousands of dollars a year. It will be like a tax cut for families who can refinance. I'm also acting on my own to cut red tape for responsible families who want to get a mortgage. But the bank is saying no. We'll work with both parties to turn the page on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And build a housing finance system that's rock solid for future generations. So we've got more work to do to strengthen homeownership in this country. But along with homeownership, the fourth cornerstone of what it means to be middle class in this country is a secure retirement. I hear from too many people across the country, face to face or in letters that they send me. That they feel as if retirement is just receding from their grasp. It's getting farther and farther away. They can't see it. Now, today, a rising stock market has millions of retirement balances going up. And some of the losses that had taken place during the financial crisis have been recovered. But we still live with an upside-down system where those at the top, folks like me, get generous tax incentives to save. While tens of millions of hard-working Americans who are struggling, they get none of those breaks at all. So as we work to reform our tax code, we should find new ways to make it easier for workers to put away money. And free middle-class families from the fear that they won't be able to retire. and if Congress is looking for a bipartisan place to get started, I should just say they don't have to look far. We mentioned immigration reform before. Economists show that immigration reform makes undocumented workers pay their full share of taxes. And that actually shores up the social security system for years. So we should get that done. Good job, good education for your kids, home of your own, secure retirement. Fifth, I'm going to keep focusing on healthcare because middle-class families and small business owners deserve the security of knowing that neither an accident or an illness is going to threaten the dreams that you've worked a lifetime to build. As we speak, we're well on our way to fully implementing the Affordable Care Act. We're going to implement it. Now, if you're one of the 85% of Americans who already have health insurance either through the job or Medicare or Medicaid, you don't have to do anything. But you do have new benefits and better protections than you did before. You may not know it, but you do. Free checkups. Mammograms, discounted medicines if you're on Medicare. That's what the Affordable Care Act means. You're already getting a better deal. No lifetime limits. If you don't have health insurance, then starting on October 1st, private plans will actually compete for your business, and you'll be able to comparison shop online. There will be a marketplace online, just like you'd buy a flat screen TV or plane tickets or anything else you're doing online. And you'll be able to buy an insurance package that fits your budget and is right for you. and if you're one of the up to half of all Americans who've been sick or have a pre-existing condition if you look at this auditorium. About half of you probably have a pre-existing condition that insurance companies could use to not give you insurance if you lost your job or lost your insurance. Well, this law means that beginning January 1st, insurance companies will finally have to cover you and charge you the same rates as everybody else, even if you have a pre-existing condition. That's what the Affordable Care Act does. That's what it does. Now, look, I know because I've been living it that there are folks out there who are actively working to make this law fail. And I don't always understand exactly what their logic is here, why they think giving insurance to folks who don't have it and making folks with insurance a little more secure, why they think that's a bad thing. But despite the politically motivated misinformation campaign, the states that have committed themselves to making this law work are finding that competition and choice are actually pushing costs down. So just last week, New York announced that premiums for consumers who buy their insurance in these online marketplaces will be at least 50% lower than what they're paying today. %50 lower. So folks' premiums in the individual market will drop by 50%. And for them and for the millions of Americans who've been able to cover their sick kids for the first time, like this gentleman who just said his daughter has got health insurance or have been able to cover their employees more cheaply, or are able to have their kids who are younger than who are 25 or 26 stay on their parents' plan for all those folks. You'll have the security of knowing that everything you've worked hard for is no longer one illness away from being wiped out. Finally, as we work to strengthen these cornerstones of middle-class security, good job with decent wages and benefits. A good education, home of your own, retirement security, healthcare security I'm going to make. The case for why we've got to rebuild ladders of opportunity for all those Americans who haven't quite made. It yet who are working hard but are still suffering poverty wages, who are struggling to get full-time work. There are a lot of folks who are still struggling out here, too many people in poverty. Here in America, we've never guaranteed success. That's not what we do. More than some other countries, we expect people to be self-reliant. Nobody is going to do something for you. We've tolerated a little more inequality for the sake of a more dynamic, more adaptable economy. That's all for the good. But that idea has always been combined with a commitment to equality of opportunity to upward mobility, the idea that no matter how poor you started, if you're willing to work hard and discipline yourself and defer gratification, you can make it, too. That's the American idea. Unfortunately, opportunities for upward mobility in America have gotten harder to find over the past 30 years. And that's a betrayal of the American idea. And that's why we have to do a lot more to give American the chance to work their way into the middle class. the best defense against all of these forces: global competition. Economic polarization is the strength of the community. So we need a new push to rebuild rundown neighborhoods. We need new partnerships with some of the hardest hit towns in America to get them back on their feet. And because no one who works full-time in America should have to live in poverty. I am going to keep making the case that we need to raise the minimum wage. Because it's lower right now than it was when Ronald Reagan took office. It's time for the minimum wage to go up. We're not a people who allow chance of birth to decide life's biggest winners or losers. And after years in which we've seen how easy it can be for any of us to fall on hard times, folks in Galesburg, folks in the Quad Cities, you know there are good people who work hard and sometimes they get a bad break. A plant. Leaves. Somebody gets sick. Somebody loses a home. We've seen it in our family. In our friends and our neighbors. We've seen it happen. And that means we cannot turn our backs when bad breaks hit any of our fellow citizens. So good jobs, a better bargain for the middle class and the folks who are working to get into the middle class. An economy that grows from the middle out, not the top down. That's where I will focus my energies. That's where I will focus my energies, not just for the next few months, but for the remainder of my presidency. These are the plans that I'll lay out across this country. But I won't be able to do it alone, so I'm going to be calling on all of us to take up this cause. We'll need our businesses, who are some of the best in the world, to pressure Congress to invest in our future. And I'll be asking our businesses to set an example by providing decent wages and salaries to their own employees. And I'm going to highlight the ones that do just that. There are companies like Costco, which pays good wages and offers good benefits. There are companies like the Container Store. That prides itself on training its employees and on employee satisfaction, because these companies prove that it's not just good for the employees. It's good for their businesses to treat workers well. It's good for America. So I'm going to be calling on the private sector to step up. I will be saying to Democrats, we've got to question some of our old assumptions. We've got to be willing to redesign or get rid of programs that don't work as well as they should. We've got to embrace changes too. Cherished priorities so that they work better in this new age. Democrats can't just stand pat and just defend whatever government is doing. If we believe that government can give the middle class a fair shot in this new century, and I believe that we've an obligation to prove it. And that means that we've got to be open to new ways of doing things. And we'll need Republicans in Congress to set aside short-term politics and work with me to find common ground. It's interesting, in the run-up to this speech, a lot of reporters say that, well, Mr. President, these are all good ideas, but some of you've said before, some of them sound great. But you can't get those through Congress. Republicans won't agree with you. And I say, look. The fact is there are Republicans in Congress right now who privately agree with me on a lot of the ideas I'll be proposing. I know. Because they've said so. But they worry they'll face swift political retaliation for cooperating with me.